Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 1 in a series between ReprisaL and Yumiko. This is actually game number 2. Game 1 took place on the version of Echo Isle that was not the official Blizzard version, and hence, because of that, I will not be able to cast it, but I am going to be casting 2 games here, so let's go ahead and see what's going to be happening. This is game 2 of a best of 3, and because of that, well, I don't know who's going to win either of these games. ReprisaL spawning as the blue human player here at what I'll call the 3 o'clock position on Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, Yumiko spawning as the red human player here at the 5 o'clock position. Now, for those of you guys who watch or chain watch some of my videos, you guys probably noticed that I did adjust the sound levels on my video just a bit. I did try to up the game sounds a little bit more. Maybe I should up them a little bit more here. Options, can I up the game sounds more? Okay, I'll go up a little bit more. Let me know how you guys like it. I know some guys out there were like, hey, we want to hear the game sounds. The game sounds are great. Blizzard did such a wonderful job with the game sounds. Why am I only listening to your voice? Well, that's no longer the case now. Well, hopefully, as things are getting underway, you can see Yumiko has opened up Altar of Kings. There's the barracks, and most likely will be an Archmage versus Archmage matchup, as that really does open things up for both players. Now, casters are very strong in this matchup. Well, actually not casters as much as anti-casters. Spellbreakers and priests are perhaps the strongest units in the human mirror match, just because spellbreakers are immune to slow, and slow is just such a big deal and can also move around that slow very, very easily. So spellbreakers are a bit problematic. Spellbreakers, if you guys remember back in the WarCraft 3 beta or Frozen Throne beta, were immensely overpowered, way too strong. You could just like walk in with 4 spellbreakers and completely destroy anyone that wasn't human. Fortunately, they did fix that, as we now see 2 footmen now going, well, a little bit of a jousting match here, and I would assume the damage is fairly even, except for the fact that it looks like one player did get in 1 more shot faster. Wow, somehow he was able to hit with his sword, even though it was still in his hand and all the way on the other side of that little ravine there. Archmage going to be picking up Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3 and now making its way back off to the north here. Going to be dropping down a quick Water Elemental as well to try to finish things up, pulling back as well, and you can see the militia are now making their way over. There is about half life on those militia, now down to about a third, but the Water Elemental here and ReprisaL will get to level 2 fairly quickly here. This Ogre Warrior is going to be very low on life here, taking a lot of the damage from those forest trolls. But as you can see, it still did its job very, very admirably, getting to level 2 on that Archmage already. Meanwhile, Archmage over here of Yumiko doubling back around. Same 2 creep camps, different order, as we see a Gloves of Haste being picked up there, as opposed to the Gauntlets of Ogre Strength. Now, Circlet of Nobility, Gauntlets of Ogre Strength, 2 very, very powerful items for an early Archmage, just because the Archmage has a lot of low hit points, and because of that additional +5 strength really adds about 75 additional hit points onto that Archmage, going from 525 to 600 right there. You can see the other Archmage there sitting at 475, so there may have been a tome of strength lost in there as well, hence the drastic difference between the hit points on both sides. Now, what is going to be happening? Oh wait, no, that's 125 hit points. Excuse me. Yeah, it's 125 hit points for every, or 25 points of hit points for each point of strength, and then only 15 points of mana for each point of intelligence. Anyways, let's go ahead and make a look here. This is going to be rather dangerous here. ReprisaL pretty much ignoring the opponent, and you can see the Archmage of ReprisaL did get the experience here, and now is going to be trying to engage back over here. Now, there is a low hit point of footman, and that footman is going to end up getting killed. There it goes down, but Yumiko is going to end up losing a Water Elemental as well. Meanwhile, Gargantuan Sea Turtle is getting in some easy shots onto that Water Elemental, and we're still engaging back and forth. Gargantuan Sea Turtle seems to want to take a chomp out of whoever is running, as ReprisaL now backing off once more. Alright, let's take a look. That is a relatively easy Gargantuan Sea Turtle to try and take down. Meanwhile, low hit point footman backs off and now re-engaging again. That Water Elemental now looking to back off as well after he's taken some serious damage. This Water Elemental actually path blocking his own footman, as we're seeing both sides now pretty much in full retreat. Now, here is a big question. Is any player really gutsy enough to try to go for a Panda? The Panda with Breath of Fire will melt away many of these footmen early on, but there is that eventual transition away into what I would like into that all-important Spellbreaker, as I mentioned. Footman now down to 16 hit points. Beautiful line of sight use right there, trying to make sure that that Footman is out of line of sight, but still not going to work here, as we now see ReprisaL continuing that fight once more. All right, Archmage going to continuing that battle there. You can see ReprisaL didn't get that experience, so really just over the top play. If you didn't know, and not only is it high ground and low ground, it is line of sight based. So an Archmage here can only see this direction, can't see around that corner, and that's exactly the reason why the Archmage could not launch a fireball off, and that's what happened there. All right, let's take a look. ReprisaL now looking to back off again. Very low hit point Water Elemental. This Water Elemental could just turn around and start firing, just because it is going to be on timed life. It will get taken down. Splash, there it goes, as the Footman now going to head back home to an Arcane Vault and heal up. Wait, no heal. All right, no heal at all, as the Footman here of Yumiko perhaps looking to try and stop his opponent from getting an experience off of that Gargantuan Sea Turtle. Water Elemental now being dropped down. Still sitting at level 2, no heal. Meanwhile, Yumiko is pretty much refreshed and ready to go. No Clarity Potion, though, surprisingly. And without that Clarity Potion, mana is going to be a bit of a problem. Let's take a look at the bases, because this is perhaps the important part now. Arcane Sanctums being sped built, 1 additional peasant each. Down over here, same thing with ReprisaL. ReprisaL also with a lot of footmen sitting inside his base. And with those footmen sitting inside his base, that means that the experience, the heal is going to be that much more beneficial, as it will bring back 4 full hit point footmen pretty much. Blood Mage now being added as the second hero coming in from ReprisaL. Meanwhile, Yumiko looking to be going for... I thought I saw a Mountain King. Yeah, there you go. Little Mountain King, short and stubby, packs a lot of strength, as Stormbolts will be coming out. Now, I do think Yumiko is going to have this a little bit better. If Yumiko Stormbolts, there is going to pretty much be an immediate siphon mana away from this Mountain King. So that Mountain King is going to run out of mana pretty quickly as well. Tome of Intelligence will help there, as we are looking at the Blood Mage picking up a Scroll of the Beast. Archmage still not really doing any healing yet, and that is the surprise, as now Priests are coming out to do some healing onto these footmen here. Now it's going to be a little bit of time before we see these Spellbreakers, and both sides opting to play Creep Wars 2016 instead of going into a straight up engagement. Now, Mountain King is going to be dangerous once it gets into that level 3 range. That 225 Stormbolt, very dangerous there, especially as if that Mountain King can manage to get more mana, say off of any sort of items. You can see Claws of Attack +9 there. That most likely will be given to the Archmage. Archmage, that range attack, much more useful than, say, that frontline Mountain King. But the Archmage is going to be able to benefit a lot from there. Meanwhile, Mantle of Intelligence, Boots of Speed, Staff of Teleportation have been added, as Yumiko now brings a single Priest. And yeah, those Claws of Attack +9 quickly sold, in addition to, I believe it was a Scroll of the Beast. Mountain King now with no items, but a lot more gold to be had. Meanwhile, let's take a look. ReprisaL bringing out, and this is a large number of footmen that I do not believe Yumiko was really expecting to face. I don't believe Yumiko realized that this was going to be so bad, as we now see what was that? There was a beautiful banish there. That Archmage now being forced to run back the other way, and this is just going to be strange, as we're now looking at a couple of towers being placed down as well. All right, Siphon mana being used. Archmage now down to 116 mana. Some mana was lost there. Blood Mage, however, down to 230 mana of his own. He does have very fast mana regeneration, faster than I would normally have believed for a level 2 Blood Mage, but with that Brilliance Aura, still, that seems rather high. All right, here we go. There's the engagement, and let's take a look. One Scout Tower already going to get taken down. Blood Mage is right there. There's that Siphon mana, as the Mountain King purposely backs off there. There is a couple of Dispel Magics. Water Elementals quickly taken down, as Militia now being brought over the other way. There's some more Dispel Magics as well, as this is pretty much a mirror match in every sense. So far, the Blood Mage not going to really be able to do all that much here. doing a little bit of range attacking. There's a Stormbolt onto the Blood Mage, as the Blood Mage is now going to be surrounded. There, however, is a banish onto the Blood Mage himself, so he is pretty much unable to get caught, and that's very interesting. If you didn't know the animation on Siphon Mana, it is a channeled ability, so he is not, I guess there is not an ethereal form of that animation. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue to look at this. Archmage here, or Priest, very, very low on mana, now going to do continual heal. There's a beautiful scroll of healing as the Mountain King now once more escapes. All right, Yumiko, if forced to retreat here, I cannot believe what I saw. Beautiful use of the Blood Mage to try and deal with that Mountain King, and he was able to do exactly that. Now, mana may be an issue. Archmage relatively low, Mountain King relatively low as well, and Archmage cannot really rely on that Brilliance Aura to catch up in terms of mana, because the Archmage on the other side from ReprisaL has the same ability. All right, Mountain King down to 62 mana here. We're going to see a little bit of a retreat once more. Footman down to 119 hit points. Quickly gets taken down there as the Spellbreakers joining in on the fight. Siphon mana away. Mountain King pretty much out of mana and going to be going down to nothing here as we take a look at some beautiful microing Spellbreaker now getting pushed back here. Militia being called over. Priest now being added. Mountain King out of mana already. No real reason to siphon the mana away from him. The next main targets are going to be Priest or that Archmage as the Spellbreakers now joining in on the fight. There is a banish onto a Water Elemental. By the time the Water Elemental's banishment is going to be completed, much of its time life will be lost. So all that Water Elemental can really do is just stand there and look. If you actually had a Dispel Magic during that time, I believe it actually takes double damage because the Water Elemental is in the ethereal form. As we're still looking at a couple of peasants and footmen still trying to engage in this front line here. All right, footmen getting taken down. Archmage may get to level 4 here, but has to be very careful. He is partially surrounded as another Siphon Mana comes in. Archmage not going to be able to drop another Water Elemental anytime soon. Archmage here may be able to drop another Water Elemental as he gets to level 4. And now there is the retreat. Level 2 Brilliant Aura. Archmage isn't going to be dropped. It should be dropped. There you go. As the now peasants now being forced to do that slow Congo line back home. However, Yumiko is not going to be able to easily chase after those units. The more he chases, the further away he'll be from the battle, and you just cannot have that going on just quite yet. Blood Mage at 430 mana and falling as he is upside down on mana at this point. All right, a beautiful use of banishment once again, constantly banishing his own priest to keep them alive, and that is just so entertaining to say the least, as we are still looking at them continuing to heal. All right, Blood Mage giving mana, or taking away mana back from the Archmage once again. 30 mana a second for every little bit of, just sucking away every bit of mana there, as the Blood Mage may be the hero of this match. The Archmage is going to perhaps get the most amount of kills and do the most amount of damage, but the Blood Mage, the support hero, really taking it to the next level and shutting down his opponent by not allowing them to freely cast. Now, we do see some Spellbreakers, Footmen, and Priest all up in this front line. It is a whole bunch of Adept Priest with Spellbreakers, as I imagined, as this push is still coming through. Spellbreakers could turn around here in just a moment, finish off things. You can see Footmen no longer in play. Farms going down, 50 over 54 supply. Once this farm is taken out, no new units will be able to be trained, and that may end up being the problem there, as the priests and the remaining units may try and focus down a footman or two. There you go, 48 over 48 right now, and we can still have more pushing coming over. All right, Spellbreakers, Footmen. The Footmen are not upgraded, but it may not matter. A lot of damage to be had already. Archmage getting in some easy shots through the forest, as the Mountain King now finally back on the board with mana. Archmage still not in a good spot here, but the Mountain King could at least launch a Stormbolt. It looks like it did, but it's not going to be able to do very much of anything, as the Blood Mage is just right outside and will be able to perhaps pull it through once more. All right, there's the Dispel Magic, and oh, interesting enough, Dispel Magic also removes the banishment, so I really don't know how much damage a banished Water Elemental takes. Does the ethereal form matter? Does it remove the ethereal form first and then deal damage, or is it vice versa? All right, I'm sure someone can set up a scenario for me and let me know. You guys will be able to educate me in Warcraft 3 as well. Anyways, Spellbreakers now pushing their way back down. It looks like Priest getting taken down here. Footmen gonna get taken down there. And this is just not going well for Yumiko. Yumiko getting pressured more and more, sitting at 40 over 60 supply. And there is the GG. ReprisaL able to take game number 2 in this series. And, well, that means he evened up the series as Yumiko probably took game 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for game number 3.